welcome. Well, it started as a bread factory in the 1900s and now produces beer. Our very own Peter Dills visits the Mission Brewery in San Diego.
Heather, you're correct. You got me again. I love beer, especially craft beer. Well, we're moving out of craft beer month. We're moving into Father's Day, and I'm in San Diego, home of the Chargers and the Padres. Yep, they're famous for their sports, but I got a feeling San Diego is going to be famous for their craft beer as well. We're actually at a craft brewery right here in San Diego. In a couple seconds, we're going to talk to the owner, Dan Sellis, and he's going to take us step by step how he got involved in the craft beer business. But first, we better try the beer. Andy. That's good. On with the show. Dan, I think you've got a funny and a unique story on how this brewery got started.
This started 25 years ago when I was in college, and I was renting a house from this guy, and I asked him one weekend, just randomly, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And he said, I'm brewing beer. And 25 years ago, it wasn't very common to homebrew. And I looked at him and I said, you're brewing beer? That sounds radical. I want to do that. And he said, go buy the kit and the ingredients, and I'll come over and show you how to do it. So I went out, bought all the ingredients. He came over, taught me my first batch. So for the next 15 years, I brewed every month, sometimes every weekend. I started to enter competitions, started to win amateur competitions. And from there, I went through the beer judge certification program, became a certified beer judge, which really increased my beer knowledge to the point where I had the confidence to start Mission Brewery.
How is beer made?
The process starts from the barley that's in our silo. We use different types of barley. Some of the grains are roasted a little darker, chocolate, malt, crystal malts, etc. Depending on the recipe and the type of beer that we're making will depend on what kind of grains we're using. If it's a stout, there's a lot of dark malts. If it's an IPA, there's some crystal malts in it. From that point, it travels through an auger into our mash tun, where the grain is combined with hot water at just the right temperature to convert starches to sugars. We turn on sprinkled fountains over the top. It's called a sparge, which pulls the sweet juice out of the grain and pushes it into the kettle. At that point, we have what's called wort. We boil the beer for 60 to 90 minutes and add hops. Most beers are balanced between the sweetness of the malt and the bitterness of the hops. So adding the proper amount of hops into the kettle is very important. Too many hops, it's too bitter. Too few hops, it's too sweet. And again, depending on the type of beer that you're making, you want to have that balance just right. So in the kettle, we do our initial hopping that adds the bitterness. Midway towards the end, we add more hops, and that adds the flavor, hop flavor to the beer. And at the very end of the boil, we'll add more hops that adds aroma. From there, the beer gets pushed through a heat exchanger, cools it down into a fermenter, where we add yeast to ferment the beer. So different yeast strains depending on, again, the type of beer. The German yeast strain for an authentic Bavarian Hefeweizen, or an American yeast strain for the IPAs. After about a week, fermentation is complete. We can filter the beer and push it into a bright tank, which is the final step of the process. In the bright tank, we carbonate the beer and then can package it in bottles, kegs, and cans.
You are the only craft beer company in the United States that is actually doing a 32-ounce can.
That's true. It is the only line of its type in existence.
And the end result?
Delicious beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey Jenny, what's going on?
Here?
Yeah, I'm here, and you know the greatest thing about coming to a brewery is that some of the beers that you have on tap, in the bottles, in the cans, are not available yet for retail and for restaurants. So that's exciting to me.
Absolutely, such as our Cortez Gold Belgian style blonde ale. It was a very popular style in our tasting room, and we decided to offer it to the general public in 32-ounce cans. So Peter, just remember this is a working brewery, and people can come right into our tasting room and enjoy all these wonderful beers.
That's Jenny from Mission Brewery. I'm Peter Dills, and we're signing off from the Mission Brewery here in San Diego.
Joining us now is the vocal coach to the stars, Valerie Morehouse, from the hit ABC TV show, Nashville. Thank you so much for joining us, Valerie.
Thanks for having me, Heather.
And as you know, I was telling you earlier, I'm a huge fan of the show. What is the most surprising thing to you? Just, working with those actors and getting them to the ability, not only that they could sing and sing well, but actually be on the radio.
Every actor is at a different level or phase. Some of them had some singing experience before, some of them more than others. But every single voice is very, very different. So it's been very challenging to kind of get them all on the same page. The other aspect to that is they have these very, very long filming days, and we have to do the music element. So it puts a lot of pressure on them.
Did you think they would all be able to pull it off?
It was questionable. There were a few that I had some questions on, but for the most part, again, they all had some ties or roots in music. Some further along than others, but I knew that I could get them there. So I was confident that whatever they lacked, we could give them the proper tools to finish the job, and we've all been just so pleasantly surprised.
Were you surprised when they asked you to actually play really yourself on the show?
Well, that was a funny story. I was in Nashville and I was there to record with Connie, and I looked at the script because we were trying to work something out, and I noticed that the following script had a vocal coach in it. So I jokingly said something to one of the powers that be, the music supervisor, and I said, hey, do they have someone for this role? Sort of tongue-in-cheek, and she said, we actually don't. And I said, well, I have my SAG card, again, joking, and she says, well, let's make a call. And before I knew it, they had asked me if I would play the role on TV, so it was fun.
My girls, we actually watched it as a family, and my girls love that the two daughters sing.
Oh, they're great.
So were they singers ahead of time, or do you work with them as well?
I do. They have this natural ability on their own. I think their parents are musicians, and they've been singing together since birth, I think, but they are just so talented and just so natural. And the good thing about the girls is they haven't hit that age yet where they're aware of themselves. So I think that it makes it a little bit more fun for them, and they're just a blast to work with. Everybody just really loves them.
Well, my daughters, love to sing, and seeing that and seeing all the success with children and children actors, what is your advice to kids that want to get into singing? Is it something like a coach? You want your kid in baseball, they're going to have a coach. Is that something that you recommend?
I do for certain kids and certain ages. Everybody's a little bit different, but I always go off the child's sort of attention span, how focused they are. All the singers are a little bit different. I think that it's very important, if they're ready for it, to get them in at the right age, because you're thinking of yourself, like you said, an athlete. And I don't think a lot of people pay close attention to that. I think they just think that they can sing, but they don't have the proper vocal health or the method or the musculature to keep up with the rigors of that career. You've got live shows, you've got recordings. And most of my clients now that are signed, that are young, they're having to do rehearsals 7 days a week. It is really, really taxing. And if you think of your body as a sport or dealing with that like an athlete, you have muscles inside your neck that you're overworking and overusing. And so what we do is try to steer the kids in the right direction so they have the right method, they have the right coaching, where the vocal cords, again, like bodybuilding or doing anything athletic, can stand the rigors of press and shows and concerts and having to be on night after night after night. And you can't just do that on your own.
What's your best advice? Do they go for somebody like yourself that's worked with celebrities, that has a track record, their local choir teacher? Kids all over.
That's a hard question to answer because, I came up on that level through the high schools and the collegiate level. And unfortunately, there are some good teachers on the collegiate level. A lot of them are not that great. They maybe haven't had the right training, and it just kind of lends to a larger problem. And so you really do have to make sure that you get a referral. That's my biggest thing, is who's that coach training with, what kind of singers are coming out of that school or out of that teacher's studio, and that's your best bet, because there is no certification for a teacher. It's not like a doctor or anybody, a physician, or even a massage therapist has to have a certification. Vocal coaches, vocal teachers do not. So my best bet for them is just to find that referral in their hometown, find that person that's having a lot of success, and do your research and make sure that all of those people's singers are healthy, that they're progressing, they're moving forward, and that's really, as a parent, where I would start.
And of course, anybody that wants your information, they can go to your website.
They can. I have a girl right now that was sent to me by one of the music producers for Nashville and said, you really need to hear her. Her parents flew her out to LA and she had a session with me, and this girl's 9 years old, and I've not heard anything like it in a long time. So that's a client I would take on at that age, because she has the focus to do it, she has the want to do it. And I think it's just child per child. You have to see where their comfort level is, where their skill set is, and be very, very honest with them and with their parents, so that they know, what am I spending my money on? Is this a path we want to go down? And I'm always very forthright with the parents and letting them know what my expert evaluation would be.
Thank you so much, Valerie, for being on our show,
Thank
and
you
I
for
can't wait
having
to
me.
see everything that you do in your career.
Yeah, thank you, Heather.
All right.
Appreciate it.
He's a teen on a mission. Unlike some other high schoolers who are just trying to figure out what to do in life, 15-year-old Truly Adams is laser-focused on one goal that he hopes will take him to the pinnacle of motorsports.
Well, I've been racing for now 11 years, so it's been a really long journey from there. Well, it all started when my dad put me in his lap when he was coaching, so it started from there, and I've kind of loved it ever since. Well, I've been karting now for about 11 years. And this transition is pretty cool, because the car is just like a big kart, in my opinion. It's maybe a little bit faster, but you don't feel it. And the cool part about it is just that everyone from karting, you remember them because they're racing with you in cars. So you'll have a group of 4 or 5 drivers that you know, and they'll transition with you at the same time. So it's pretty cool getting to know all those drivers from a karting stage and then moving into cars, and they're still pretty much your good friends.
It's not very surprising to see this ambitious teen latch on to the world of racing for his career choice, as his family has long been a part of the world of motorsports for more than half a century. This is especially seen through the eyes of his father, Troy Adams, who himself spent several years as a racer and is now the driving coach for his son.
This is not my vision. Trust me, we could go play stick and ball sport. It's a lot cheaper. But no, this is something that Truly, really wants to do. This is something that he puts his heart in. He's the one that gets up in the morning and does the workouts. He's the one that gets on the phone and grinds and tries to get the marketing partners and sponsors. All the social media is he and his mom. So for the most part, this is one thing that is truly him.
And the family support system also extends to Kara Adams, Truly's mom, who long ago saw the potential in this young phenom who's begun to make a strong showing in the world of international racing.
And he's been kind of like that since he was about 6 years old. Like, I would go into his room and say, "You're destined for greatness." Like, I just knew it. And so now that he's on that path, he's very like, "Mom, I need this, I need to do this." Like, I'm on the freeway constantly. But if he knows what he wants and he does the things to me to earn us kind of putting him first and putting his career first, then I'm going to do it every day, all day.
While Truly Adams is open to racing at any level of Major League Motorsports, the main goal is to get to the big stage of Formula One, and will soon find himself in Europe, laying down the foundation to make that dream a reality.
I'm supposed to be leaving to France in a couple months, and hopefully, if everything gets sorted out, I might be living there for the next 6 months. So it's gonna be pretty cool, and it's gonna be different for sure, but who isn't up for something a little bit different? Moving to Europe, every team wants a driver that's based out there and kind of can learn how to be different. My ultimate goal would be to reach F1, of course, but anything is winning. If it's NASCAR, sports car, IndyCar, Formula One. I'd love to race anything I win.
So with a driving passion to reach a very lofty goal, along with a very strong family support system, it won't be any surprise to see Truly Adams get to that level of motorsports that many can only dream of. For Coast to Coast, this is J.R.E. Barr.
Gold medalist, gymnast, and mom of 3, Shawn Johnson East is no stranger to challenges, but nothing prepared her for when her first 2 children caught RSV. Shawn is joining us today with Dr. Mona Amin, a board-certified pediatrician and mom, to talk about RSV. Can you walk us through what you went through with RSV?
When my daughter was 2 years old, she was the first one to contract RSV, and she handled it just fine. She had a runny nose, a cough, a fever, but it passed pretty quickly. And then our second baby, when he was 1, contracted RSV. I didn't think much of it based off of my daughter, but it kind of took a turn, and a quick turn for the worst, when he started having difficulty breathing and he wound up in the ER. So when baby 3 came around, it was peak RSV season, and there was a better option. Under the age of 1, babies could then get Beyfortus, which is nirsevimab ALIP, which is antibodies that help protect baby against serious RSV lung infections. And it was a great option that I talked through with my pediatrician and ended up giving my third baby, Bear.
So, Dr. Amin, what exactly is RSV, and what are ways that babies can contract the virus?
I'm really grateful to be here with Shawn to share her story, and also in partnership with Sanofi to talk about RSV because it is important. So RSV is also called respiratory syncytial virus, and it's a highly contagious and unpredictable virus, like you heard with Shawn's experience with her 2 older children. And kids can get it from contaminated surfaces, people coughing, people sneezing, and like I mentioned, it is contagious. And so it's really important to consider preventive options that things like nirsevimab ALIP or Beyfortus, which can be directly given to babies under the age of 1 entering their first RSV season, and certain kids up to 24 months to help protect against those serious RSV lung infections that can happen.
And how do you advise parents when it comes to helping protect their babies against RSV?
The reality is that no baby is too healthy or too strong to get RSV and to have those potentially serious complications. So the most important thing I consider is talking to your child's doctor about Beyfortus and seeing if it's an option for you. And again, this is an antibody, not a vaccine. So it helps provide antibodies to babies while their immune system develops to help protect against those serious RSV lung infections. And your baby will guide, or your baby's doctor will guide you on Beyfortus, and they won't recommend it if your child has had a history of a serious allergic reaction to nirsevimab ALIP or any of the ingredients in Beyfortus. So they will be the first person to guide you on that decision.
And Shawn, having experienced this firsthand, what are some final thoughts you'd like to share with everyone?
So RSV is circulating right now, so it's important to have those conversations. And if you need help getting started with those conversations, you can go to Beyfortus.com to get more information.
Thank you both so much for joining us today.
That's it for us. If you missed any part of our show, you can go to our website, and don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I'm your host, Heather Dawson. We'll see you next time.